Okay, guys, this chapter, the whole book I loved. It's so Mary Kay, but this really got me thinking. It put words to things that I haven't ever put words to in Mary Kay. But this, our company and our opportunity has been created by leadership roundtables and people desiring to get to the next roundtable. Like I qualified for a trip so that I could be at with Debbie and Kathy at that roundtable. And so I got to sit at the table with Daleen White and Ann Newberry and Maxine Sandvig, and the pioneers of Mary Kay were on the trips when I qualified for my first trip. Those were the people at the roundtable. Mary Kay for events. People qualify to get into red jackets. They qualify to be DIQs or directors. As directors, you create these opportunities, for your people to be able to come to the table. Like this is how we train. You can't come in and be a red jacket. You're not recruited because of your education or management experience to be a director. It's all, build the base and let the cream rise, which is what we always did in Mary Kay. We didn't make anyone into something because those people don't stay there. The people that showed up went up because they wanted to be there, right? And then we've evolved into this place that, I've had people be at events and they're like, I didn't see the value in it, or they're not going because there's no value in it. I know what to do, but yeah, I just have to do it. You're just like, that's not a hungry leader. That's not a leader that like appreciates the sharpening and what happens. And instead of us trying to make them into something they're not, it's like, okay, you do you. And we go out and are in front of enough people to build the wide base so that the cream rises. So I want you to evaluate your conversations in recruiting. And when you're in front of your people, recruiting personally, in group situations, in your own parties, when you're at networking events, in the community, how are you talking about leadership with Mary Kay? Because if you I want to challenge you, look at your chicken list. They're probably leaders. And I want you between now and next Wednesday, how many of those people can you have conversations with about what leadership looks like in Mary Kay? Because we have a void of leadership in Mary Kay. And most people aren't used to that verbiage because most companies, they are cutting back on their top people. They're cutting back on their best people because that's what costs them the most money. Those are the people that are getting axed. And so saying, this is what I'm looking for. This is what Mary Kay is looking for. 85% of our top people retire in a 10-year span. It takes 20 directors to replace one national. So I want to share with you what Mary Kay is looking for. And if she's a leader, she's going to go, that you're describing me. Like, that's me. Like, you can tell people they're sitting at the edge of their seat, whether they're on Zoom or in person with you. Like, I was sitting on the edge of my seat that whole first meeting I went to, just watching this that was happening, going, oh my gosh, like, I can't not do this. Even though it doesn't make sense here, I can't not. I've had a lead, I've always had. God, if God put a leadership bent in you, then it's there. And you can tell people, get excited about being with other people who get it. And so I want you to have some conversation so that you start to have a circle of influence that doesn't just know about Mary Kay, that knows that we need leaders. And Mary Kay pays very well for leaders. And you can go into leadership very quickly. And you can be incentivized to go to the very top position in an 18-month time period right now. Because that's not normal in the business culture in the United States of America right now. And it's something that we don't really talk that much about, but we need to. So I want to hear how you take that information and apply it and tweak it on Voxer over this week. What I want this conversation, I want this roundtable to be is this business owner versus order taker. Mary Kay started this business for us to be business owners, not order takers. And post-COVID, We have evolved into a sales force of order takers. When I look at I can see every single person's order in my national area. And I see people with lines this deep of CDS orders. That's all they do is CDS. And then when there's a supply chain issue with the company, they can't give their customers the products. Like, I'm sick of telling my customers these products still aren't here. Well, if they were on your shelf, your customer wouldn't know about it. You're a business owner, not an order taker. Those are issues order takers have to deal with. You're not you're not running your business as a business owner. So I want us to have this discussion. What are the things that you need to change, or work well, or used to work well in this process of educating and equipping people to be business owners versus order takers? Because this is really critical to raising up leaders, because if you're not solid on this, you're going to raise up leaders that are order takers. When someone comes in and they do a star order, which is an 1800, is what a 600, or a 600 is what oh my gosh, 1800 is what a 600 used to be, because you have to spend so much more money because we have $225 skincare sets and $75 supplements. So we used to think a star order was actually like a lot of product. It's not. It's like 5 roll-up bags. A 600 is personal use. A 3600 is not profit taking or making. They can at any level, but really double that is what a 3600 when it was delivered back in the day when I started. I mean, everything costs more, right? So why are we still talking about inventory at the levels like it was 30 years ago? Think how much 30 years ago, my house, I could sell it for 3 times what I bought it 27 years ago. Why are we still talking about this business in the same terms as we did 30 years ago, when the economy and the numbers have changed? So, I mean, that's one issue, but then the other one is like not even just being happy people do 225s or 600s. What I commonly hear is, oh, she's doing a 600. That is like the bar. Do we have an inventory? If she did a 600 because we went through an inventory conversation, that's one thing. But if she did a 600 because that's what, we're asking for, that's like the people starting with 225s to get their unit done, right? 600's the new 225. So let's who wants to lead this conversation off? And we know the problems. I've just stated the problems, so we don't have to talk about problems anymore. I want to talk about solutions. Thank you, Cleta.
Okay. I think one of the reasons that people don't do the orders is because they're not doing parties. At parties, that's where you sell the big amounts all at one time, and the order takers are a lip gloss here, a mascara there, and they don't feel the need. So they haven't seen the exchange of large money like at a party, because we're not recruiting from parties. So, and I know that in my own unit too. And so I have been thinking in the last 2 weeks since I've been on these calls, I've thought about it before though, that I need to have back where I used to train people how to do parties, and anyone in my unit could do a party that attends, so I decided to go ahead, and this starting next Tuesday, I committed to a hotel till I said, I'll commit till July, because I know our seminar's in August. And every Tuesday to do a skincare class. And I told him, I said, I'm going to do my unit meeting on Zoom because I have so many out of town people. I'm not stopping that. I said, so this is not for unit meeting. This is to y'all to bring guests for us to do a party. I mean, to do a skincare class, and I'm going to do marketing during the mask. I said, so y'all could come and watch. I said, but honestly, you want to bring people so that you can sell something or recruit somebody. And so, but I decided to do it right after we had the Atlanta Career Conference, and I had 12 people there, well, 14 with a couple of adoptees. And that's when they were fired up, that's when I sprung it on them. And they were all, of course, for it because they're all fired up. So we start next Tuesday, and it's like the hotel, that's a commitment to do it every week. But I know that when I did it before, my best year was when I was doing that. And every week we had guests and every week we were getting recruits. And then they knew how to do a party. It wasn't a big deal. They weren't afraid.
Mhm.
I did
Right.
it for a while and then I started bringing them up to do it,
Mhm.
with the flip chart, just the normal.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing. And I know I'm
Yeah.
going to see results.
Well, isn't that funny? It's like we're talking about a hotel's commitment. I was a 26-year-old paying for a hotel
Oh,
every
I
single
know. Me too.
for a whole year, 1, 2, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I mean, we just
Yeah.
did it. Like that's why I was recruited going to a hotel. So I always did hotel meetings till I moved to Michigan. So that was 10 years into my business, and then got a $4,000 a month studio.
Mm-hmm.
So, that there's always been a commitment. But what I have found is that a leader will commit to that because, Cleta, you're going to have the skincare guest that you need during the month to pay for that hotel.
Right.
Because that's
And
where your personal recruits come from.
And I have a little crop of new people that I've recruited just this month and last month that are so excited to be in my space to come. And I think that's where I got burned out right after COVID. I started it and then it was like me and 2 adoptees in this $250 room. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
So I feel anyway, so that's what I'm doing.
Yep. And you don't I've never had the luxury of being able to wait to have some excited people because when I've moved to areas, I've been new and needing money. I've been in DIQ or my husband's quit his job and I moved to Michigan. I've never been in a position I could wait to have people show up. I had to go and have it be my skincare class and grow from there because I had to be earning while other people were learning. But all meetings, all new areas always start with a skincare class. And then, Cleta, that skincare class, you'll get to a point that you'll have people that you want to have them keep coming, but they've seen you do 10 parties, so then in another room or the lobby, someone will do consultant training, probably you, and one of those people that's seen all the parties will do the party.
Right.
And you get to a point where you need new and seasoned separated because the seasoned are making it look hard. So you have a skincare class, new, seasoned. And then you have from the seasoned or new, probably the new, people becoming red jackets and going on Target Car and DIQ. So you have a skincare class, you have new consultant training, you have seasoned, not yet red, you have reds, and then you'll get to a point where you have a whole sea of reds that are doing nothing also. And so then you have DIQs on Target Cars. That's the evolution of growing any area. It always starts off with the skincare class meeting. Always. It's sometimes someone's home and then it's gotten too big. So now it goes into another common space. And so, and people that come to that, they see you sell stuff with roll-up bags, complete collections. So then when you go to talk to them about inventory, you're like, no brainer. Yeah, a 1800's like getting my toes in the water. It's what a 600 used to be. I'm just going to see my own stuff and see how it goes. I'll just have 5 roll-up bags. But yes, super smart. And I think you recorded a skincare class too, didn't you?
I did. And you would be surprised, you guys. There was probably like 1,200 people in like a day watched it. I'm like shocked. And people are like, I've never seen a party before. Thank you so much for posting this. Now I think I might could go do one. So, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And it doesn't matter how many you do for other people when you do grand openings and stuff, they still don't do parties because they still don't think that they can do parties because they haven't seen a party yet.
That's right.
Jerry.
Okay, I'm back. I'm so grateful. I'm back at the studio working. I just love it, love it, love it. Personal business and team business. So my unit likes to do 1 o'clock at the studio. So I know we open every Saturday morning at 10:30, but it's just not working. So I just said, okay, every Saturday at 1 o'clock. But I kicked off this past Saturday, Breakfast of Champions. Food, y'all. Y'all know I love stuff around.
I might stop by for breakfast sometime, Terry.
Chicken and waffles, Dawn.
Oh, I'll be there. Let me know.
But I tell you, I had to because food draws people. However, the Breakfast of Champions, we started off with about 12 guests, and I did the live ladder. I had the live ladder created, and it was so much energy in the room. Then we went the guests stayed. I was surprised that many guests stayed for the 1 o'clock party. And so skincare class, that's what it is. It's 1 o'clock skincare class. So in all this past Saturday, it just energized everyone, including myself. We had about 18 guests. And so what I did, and we had roll-up bags ready. Thank you, Alden, for the roll-up bag sheets. So we had the roll-up bags ready. Every table had both the roll-up bags, depending on the skincare. And it was a great day because I had my latest selling roll-up bags, getting second appointments. I was doing it all. We recruited out of that group 8 people on this past Saturday. I said, no, we're going to do the $100 starter kits. We're going to do starter kits because this is what Mary Kay looks like right here. $10, no. $100, $100, $100. Because when you got a starter kit, blah, 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 you can do this, you can do this, you continue to do it. And so I'm using my flip chart. I don't like the new flip chart because it left out some stuff that but I roll with it anyway. And the ones that didn't want to join, I say, please help them come back next Saturday because we'll be back next Saturday at 1, and they have to finish 30 faces with product on faces. So I'm back to the Power Stars. I feel really good, energized. Then I go to Jackson. She rented a hotel room for me. My consultant, she said, Terry, I'm bringing you into the Holiday Inn. And right now we're up to 22 guests. So I'm give or take, if we get 10 to 12 there, I'll be happy. And I'm gonna go in early because they gonna see skincare classes. That's the roundtable discussion for me. And I'm just telling my people, it's up to you. But I'm back in person. I'm still gonna do my meetings on Zoom. But the energy for me, my energy level is so up. And so right now, this coming Saturday, we have about 5 consultants who booked 6 to 8 people. So chances are we'll be in all the rooms, and which I love. But they know now they have to stand by a table to move this many people forward and coach them to step 1, step 2, step 3. And they now are getting involved. So it's really the new people. It's my new people. My new people are excited. The seasoned people, they can do as they please. I mean, I love them, but right now I'm running with women that want this business and excited about what Mary Kay can offer them, and they are actually working the business. So that's what I'm doing.
You say live ladder, Terry. Is that the marketing cards we used to
On the
use?
cards, I had the cards made up. Yes.
Awesome.
That was so cool. And the guests went up, and I said, hi, do we have a happy customer? Happy customer didn't want to move, but I was okay with that. But I asked the guests, go stand by the card on this ladder that where you see yourself. Everybody, the guests that went up, they all stood by the director and the nationals position. And that was very telling.
Can you post those in the Voxer so people could take them and get them printed?
I will. I will.
Perfect.
Yes. I will.
Are they the ones that are on InTouch?
No, she did. I had my girl take down the information of the steps to success, and created the look, the pictures, the everything, the new suit, everything, the jewelry. So they stood by it all. And I just asked the guests, go up, stand where you want to be.
Yeah,
and
post those, please.
Yeah, I will.
Those were great because the consultants would go, oh, really? I can get that? Like consultants learned so much from those living lineups. Yeah, you had your hand up.
Yep. I'm so happy where we're at. This is right now. And like, I feel like my brain can go back to my autopilot of like, this is how we do Mary Kay. You know, it's felt like for the last 3 years, every day we've been like, you have to learn this new thing and you have to do this new thing. You have to do this new thing. And it has not, I mean, it's worked, but it's not worked as well. So my fun story, a month ago, I took one of my local people out who joined during the pandemic. I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to meet people outside of our little 2,000 person town. Like, you got to get out of here. And so took her, we warm chatted, we got leads, we booked an event at a store where we walked into, and they're like, we want, anyway, so we had an event. From that, I've booked 3 parties. She's booked parties, sold skincare sets. Those are where my recruits are coming from this month. And we're doing I'm calling them workshops. We're having food, Terry Lewis, at our workshops. A light brunch is served. And it just feels so, and it has got me so committed to just change, like repeat. Skincare class, this is where you get sales, this is where you get bookings, I mean, like all the things, but it feels like home, like a cozy blanket of like, this is how we do it, and this is how it works, and this is how it's most effective. And you know, the individual closes when you're done and you're getting this information from people that you don't get when you like sign off of Zoom, like they're sharing their heart story and you're like crying with them as you're filling out their receipt, you know, all of those things. And it just has given me a lot of peace, even also in navigating all of this verbiage about getting yourself out there and social media and all those things, like to go, this is where my joy is with these people. And this is where I want to put my focus. And because it brings me joy, it brings results. And so it feels like I'm so thankful for this group because it keeps me in the lane of not tiring of saying the same message to my people over and over again, and just waiting for the people who are willing to trust me and the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's like, I think we have gotten to the point where we realize we don't have to beg people to do this. And the skincare class as the vehicle, I mean, that's one of the 5 things that I know that if these core values that I was taught in Mary Kay, if we protect them and carry them forward, then, you know, we have a chance of building an inner circle area. But if we don't, we don't. And one is that the skincare class is the vehicle, the vehicle. There's other different things you can do. Like if you want to boost your social media, boost it. It doesn't take the place of a skincare class. If you want to be a TikTok star, do it. It doesn't take the place of a skincare class. If you can't do a skincare class and do these things, then don't do these things. But don't do these things instead of a skincare class, because that is what makes us sustainable. That's where skincare customers are found. And if people are just selling Mary Kay stuff, we are not sustainable. Our company's not sustainable. Our brand is not sustainable. And people then, if they don't see a skincare class, they don't get inventory, they're order takers. Always, they make less money. It's a revolving door with order takers. It's just like every other drug selling company, revolving door. The skincare class is the vehicle, and we make money selling this product because at skincare classes, they sell enough to be able to say, oh, I could pay a bill. I could pay a bill with this. So yes, it's getting exciting. And we're going to continue to have more and more, distractions. That's the time we're in. Technology, who knows what technology will turn into next? I mean, who had any idea 10 years ago we'd have this and all the things that we can do? So it's going to increase. Are you going to allow that to detract you from what God's called you to do? Because he hasn't changed his mind. His mission through this company is still the same. People are getting so distracted by these things that they're not in front of people with the product, building relationships. And I'm not saying that can't happen virtually, because if we didn't have virtual, I wouldn't be able to do this roundtable with you all. You wouldn't, like Cleta, you said you have people all over the place. Do your success meeting on Zoom for sure. When you gather, you better be selling products and teaching people how to do a skincare class. And that's always been the case. That hasn't changed. Like, more hasn't changed than has, if you're doing Mary Kay the Mary Kay way. And when people are doing all these other things, it's like, go for it. Go for it. I'm not a gambler. I'm very preventative. And I mean, I'll take risk, but taking a risk and gambling is very different to me. Like, if there's a proven way to do things and you're just gambling with, oh yeah, I'm gonna full hard press into TikTok and paying for social media. Like, to me, that's gambling. I'm not sure if that's going to work out or not. And actually, based on what I've seen, I don't think it's going to. But I do know if I get in front of people with the product, and if I roundtable people up the career path and model that, like was modeled to me, I'll see who the leaders are, the future leaders, the people to pass the batons to. Holly.
That's something I've heard you say quite a few times in this last year, just like listening to your stuff, that more has stayed the same since change. That's changed. More has stayed the same than changed. And the pandemic was 4 years ago. And I was like, wow, that's certainly enough time to like create some not so great habits. And so I feel like since we've been in this study, I've really had to focus on what I need to change. And it's sometimes a real icky feeling that, wow, how did I get here? You know what I mean? 4 years though, 4 years. So I feel like I just made some changes towards the last part of January. I started doing the weekly at the hotel on Saturdays. We had one of our better recruiting months last month than we've had in a long time. And then going into this month, it's like I'm still doing those, but then it's fizzled out with the guests. So I had to remind myself that, you know what, it's your personal party. When you're doing the in-person hotel, that you're opening up to your people so that I'm not canceling a room. Like that's never going to be an option when I have my own personal guests and my personal business is leading, and then I'm able to open that up. So I've recorded the parties. I'm going to stop doing debuts. Like really. And the way my inventory talks are way different now. Especially when you are talking about, I used to be like, well, there's only an $8 to $11 difference in a monthly payment when you come in with a 600 versus an 1800, but it's not even about that anymore. It's the amount of product and setting them up for success versus not. And so just the changes in the debuts, recording my parties virtual and in person with samples, my inventory talks. And here's the thing. I just listened to the new DIQ program that they're proposing. And currently they already make weekly calls to brand new sales directors, corporates. And I don't want, and that was some of my feedback that I gave, is that I want to be able to do my job. You know, there's been lots of times in the past where I've had corporate call my offspring and it was such minimal thinking that it only ended up discouraging them versus encouraging them. And so if we don't do our jobs and get in there and lead, that's what we're going to be left with, because they're planning on continuing that, getting out there. They were meeting with people, like meeting with newer directors. And so it's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like if I know that if I don't get in there and start leading the way Mary Kay Ash wanted us to lead, like the prior to the 4 years, then that's what we're going to be left with. They'll be leading our offspring. It's watered down. That's the bottom line. The leadership is so watered down right now.
Right. Well, because it was never driven from corporate, and Mary Kay never intended it to be driven from corporate. But if people in the field won't do their job, the company has to step in because there's a leadership void. And that, I mean, no one needs to be crying about there not being a CAR program when only 120 consultants qualified for it last year. And the majority of them, the company has to take it back in 6 months. Like how much that cost. Directorship is going to, the qualifications I'm sure are going to go up July 1st. It's been on sale 4 years. And we have a leadership void. They're paying you so much money in your first year as a director. Come on, thousands of dollars being thrown out. And now $5,000 for becoming a national. They're doing everything they can from an incentive standpoint. If we don't do our jobs, then they're going to step into the gap. My master's program, there's a whole section on onboarding consultants and doing inventory conversations. I highly recommend you circle back around to that. And then Holly, those of you who are in the Mary Kay National area, recommend the master's program to people. It's free. They can go on to my YouTube. They can go on to my website with the backup for director. Login is legacy, lowercase. Like we need to resource people because the nationals and the directors who were working were training the Mary Kay National area. Well, the Mary Kay National area has gotten so big and directors aren't doing their jobs in the field. I mean, when you look at recruiting, directors are not doing their jobs if they're not recruiting. Mary Kay said that was our job, is to recruit and to find directors. Period, the end. Like I just did a director call for another national, and they're looking at me like deer in the headlights. And I'm like, you have to get your B done. You have to. March, April, May, June. A new B with real live people. And they're looking at me like I was telling them to cut off 4 limbs of their body. I'm like, you guys, I don't know how much more plain to say it. If we don't do it, they're gonna step into the gap to protect the company. It's just basic business. And we're actually fortunate we haven't gotten fired. Because in other companies, if you don't do the job description, corporate doesn't jump in to replace it. They fire you and they hire new people or send it overseas or do it a different way. You guys, we're very fortunate. Like, because like you said, Holly, it's 4 years ago. Like, we got to make the pivots. That's why we have this TikTok thing. That's why we have the boosting social media. They're like desperate. Like, what are we going to do to get Mary Kay out there to more people if our sales force isn't doing it? So, you know, a movement starts with just some people. You guys can change this and your influence with other people. The resources are there. Point them to my resources. You don't need to be the people that's taking your time. You got to be out there in front of people with the products. Point them to the resources. God, for some reason, has, you know, given me a gift of admin and, you know, being ready with resources before they're needed. So if that's how he's used me, point people to them. Well, you guys are out there, because then they're going to go, oh, wow, what are you doing, Cleta? What are you doing, Alden? What are you doing, Lynn? They're going to be calling you guys saying, what are you doing? And you're going to be able to say, this is what we're doing. They need to see people getting results because they go to the people that they see the results. And then we have an it girl doing just this or it girl doing just that. And it works for her personality, but it's not duplicatable. So Terry, when you're saying they left stuff out of the flip chart, put sticky notes in. We always had our people write in and put sticky notes in, but still use the flip chart that they get in their case, because then it's duplicatable. You don't have to redo a whole flip chart for every new person. Who had their hand up? Dana?
Yes, national. You know what? In my unit, what I found is they are really ready to get back into the field. They are ready to have in-person meeting. Even my new people, they were like, you know, we'll help you with the ability to pay. That's what they were even saying to me just at my Monday night training. They said, look, we want to meet in person. And so what has been happening is, even though I haven't had a class, I had it online, but not in person. I had scheduled for a class, but I only had a double facial. And one of my, she's one of my seasoned consultants, came and watched. Okay, she already know, but she came and she watched just the double facial. And she got super excited. She went and talked to someone in her building, and that lady held a class. And I said, how many chairs do you have at your table? She said 8. I said, fill them up. So a lady in her building invited all the people to her home, and she even did what is it called, a shop my party as well. Okay, in conjunction with the class. She had such a great class, when I tell you. And when she got on our Monday Night Live and spoke about it, I mean, I like the fact that the consultants were able to see their peer do that live skincare class, and she made over $1,200. And I said, now that's the way you do it. And I helped her to coach the woman, and it was really a quick turnaround party for her. And so I said, oh yeah, we got to get back with it. So Cleta, I was saying, I'm looking for a studio, but why not just get yourself at a hotel even? Okay, because they're ready. Look, they're pushing me saying, director, can we meet in person? And when I think back about how things were working, I've always had a studio. Okay, even when I didn't have one, she said, Diva, come over here, because the divas need a place they need a home, because they've always had a home, right? And so it's just so different not having one. You just need a place, you know, because people want to gather. Even the people that I'm meeting, and sometimes I want to do it quick. I said, well, just meet me on Zoom. They was like, well, where we gonna meet? And, I'm saying just meet on Zoom, and they more or less saying, can we get together, lady? Can you put this on my face? And so I'm seeing that, even though the pandemic brought us all here, and in some ways it helped because it allowed us to be able to speak to our consultants in other states. But like you say, it is time to get back, and I'm seeing it and I'm excited about it. And even my new people, like you said, a lot of them, they've never really seen me do a skincare class. A lot of them don't know. So, they're kind of weaning it, and making it happen. So, I'm gonna say old school, but it's really the school of Mary Kay.
It is.
Yeah, it's the way that we do things. And so I was just so excited that my seasoned consultant came and watched me do what was supposed to be a party, but ended up being a double facial. But she got excited and went and booked that party. And she was in contact with me, Diva, should I do this? Should I do that? I said, yeah, fill that table up. And she did it. I mean, she's a former director, but she did it. And so when she explained it all to on Monday Night Train, they were just super excited, and they are so ready. And so guess what? I am too.
Well, and Dana, something like Cleta got the hotel, like it doesn't have to be your forever home, but get a hotel space. And honestly, like in this economy, I'm not sure, like we have a studio and we have a landlord that's been willing to work with us. So that's a different story. I'm not sure if I would go into a $4,000 a month studio, at this point in time. Get a hotel, because it doesn't have to be for 2 to 5 years.
And Dawn,
meeting,
they will negotiate. Like, I want to share this, and I don't, I was meeting at this hotel several years ago, and then I called back to get one, and this woman has this family that I know, they own a lot of hotels. I said, I'd love to meet at y'all's hotel, but what kind of Mary Kay price can you get me? And so they called me, and she said, now we redid the meeting room, and normally it's $800 for a day. I'm like, excuse? And then they said it's $400 is what we're charging now. I said, for the comfort suites, because I used to pay $40. And she goes, yes. And she goes, we're not going to charge you that. She goes, we were thinking $150. She goes, what do you think about that? I said, well, and she goes, well, what were you thinking? I said, I was thinking 100. I'm just telling y'all, I thought I'm going to see what I can do. And I said, I'm going to tell you why. I said, I'm not going to use it for half a day. I said, I'm going to use it for 3 hours. My meeting's from 6 to 8. I'll come in 30 minutes early. Might stay 30 minutes late. I said, we're not going to make a mess. We clean up. We're not going to have a ton of, sparkle and glitter that you got to clean. I said, you'll barely know we were there. I said, and I'm going to commit until July every week. And then she said, well, if we had a big event, I said, I will change it. I said, as long as you give me notice, I said, you can, if you got somebody will give you 800, obviously you can book it and I'll change the date or I'll do something else that week. And anyway, she goes, well, I'm gonna have to make a couple calls. So she calls me back. She goes, all right, we'll do it. And I'm like, thank you. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Don't be scared to ask, because that commitment every week when it's sitting there empty, even though they've gone way up on the price since I met 4 years ago. That's all.
I've been negotiating hotels my whole career, because I had a studio, but like when I would have something big enough, and hotels will do it because, what is their least busy night? You just ask them, I want to help you. Let's business partner so we can make this work. And so I've just learned so much from y'all. And I've just, I feel like God is just putting a lot on my heart as we're sitting here today. I have an opportunity for a studio that's only $300 a month. And it's like a little office, but there's a boardroom that you can have. And so I'm like, I can have all my classes there. There's a commons area where I can do big parties, and it's 75, that'd be 75 a week. I need to get back with them on that. I've been doing something in a coffee shop where I invite some people in, but we can only have like 8 people. And so I need something more consistent that I don't have to call and reserve that. It's so easy to get distracted. Okay, so I've been on the mission of doing parties. And then I did get on this idea of doing the 5 and 5, which that has been supersonic profitable, and it pushed me over and has maxed out my sales for this month. So that's been a big deal. And I've made a lot of great connections, and I'm getting my clients on more products. But I'm like, Jana, turn back to the parties. Don't get distracted. This is where bigger inventory is coming in. So thank you all. Just thank you for everything. And I learned from this week, and I love your words, Dawn, about business owners versus order takers, and just and round tabling people up the career path. I love that. And as I was reading this book, I'm like, what roundtables are you creating right now, Jana? Zero. You don't have roundtables. You're not inviting people in. The fact that I was invited into this roundtable, and like Nimicolin, I'm like, I'm over the top to be invited. Other people will be over the top to be invited for sure. So,
And if they're not a leader.
right.
They're not our type of leader. So be
Right.
fine with that. And I mean, you guys, there's directors who aren't, or nationals who aren't leaders.
And I'm
You
gonna
get the numbers in, that's not a qualification. So you with your people you're interviewing, your chicken list this week, I need you to be able to explain to them our leadership culture, attributes. Who do you know that has these? Ask that woman. She'll probably, if she tells you it's her, because she'll tell you it's her. You'll see it on Zoom or in person. You'll see her. You'll see her sit at the edge of her seat and react to it. Those are the people we can then work with. And Dana, when you're talking about old school, I worked with Julius Henderson as a leadership coach, not personally, but in a program. But he said one time to the nationals who were doing it, he goes, drop this old school stuff. It's just like we read in Chick-fil-A. They're not like old school Chick-fil-A does great customer service. Old school Chick-fil-A, prioritizes people over profit. No, this is Chick-fil-A's culture. This is Mary Kay's culture, period, the end. This is Mary Kay's culture. This is not old school and new school Mary Kay. This is our culture. Do we use technology? Do we do new things? Yes, but the culture part of it doesn't change. Book, coach, sell, recruit, being a business owner versus an order taker. Those things are Mary Kay culture. Don't buy into this old school thing, because all the people that he references in here, he's not saying old school basketball coaching, old school business with Chick-fil-A, no. That's the culture that's successful. And if you've ever seen companies, I saw University of Michigan football go with a different coach that did not line up with Michigan's culture. It's taken them 25 years to get back to that. It's culture makes a difference, and we already have it. Don't give it away. And I love that this conversation, I asked you guys to bring to the table, the inventory, business owner versus order taker. And what everyone has gone to is getting back in front of people with the products, the skincare class. Very interesting. Wasn't expecting that, but it makes sense.
You want me to go?
And perks recruiting event. Hi, that's cute. High end perks. I'd go to that. Who's raising their hand? Alden?
Okay. I would like to know on Voxer, can you guys share how you are doing unit meetings / like if you're doing them virtually in person? I just want to know, because I got to a point in the pandemic that I would rather do like a skincare class event or something. So I wasn't ever doing like a true training. I was doing a once a month thing. So curious about that. And then so Terry was talking about this closing sheet that I put in there. I had gotten this from somebody and was doing like the borrow my bag, which I'm still doing, and selling a ton of roll-up bags for people that won't physically get in person with me. But I had a skincare class at my house with neighbors, which was super fun, and realized that some products needed to be adjusted for how we do things in person. So I got it edited. I have this and the Time-Wise Repair one, and I corrected the prices. I hate doing this stuff, you guys. I wanted to stab everybody, but it is done, and I will pass it on. And then another thing, I got the Steps to Success edited a little bit for the time being, with the consultant car still on it and the director position being 24. So I'll get this to you guys as well, for people to see. But just something I thought about, I'm sending this to my consultants as they get their pin enhancements. So it's like a little pinning box, and it gives them I'll write a little note of where I see them on the career path, but just a office kind of thing. Also, I've been doing this for a while, but people are now starting to actually come in with stars and pay attention to my welcome packet. So I've always had my welcome packet, gets emailed or texted to them, but I also have my assistant. Once I see that people are actually going to do something with their lives, like they actually order and talk to me and stuff, I have my consultant or my office assistant send them a printed welcome packet because it has future tracking sheets. It has Team 100. It has the future stuff, the business tracking register thing, like that. So they have the resources because people aren't printing things. Some people don't have printers, whatever, but so that it gives me more tangible things. So yes. And then there was something I was asking you guys. I wanted to know about the meetings. I agree with everything everybody's saying. The skincare classes in person, having people watch. One thing that and Jana said it, like, what roundtables am I creating? Because we used to do step on up nights or, different, in-person events or, breakfast of champions like Terry was talking about. So, as you guys start doing things like that, if you can just share in the group, like this is how I'm creating a roundtable situation, virtually and in person, because I know all of us have people all over the place and we can't discount, gathering and having, this be a roundtable for us and stuff. So curious about how you guys are gonna, foster those situations, moving forward with stuff too.
Something I'm going to throw out there, and I think I just said this to the other group. I don't think I said it to you guys. I was in a small group doing a roundtable with Janice Trude, who has a whole bunch of first line DIQs that have already come out and in the system. And she said it was because last year, her goal was to have 15 red jackets at seminar. So at this time of the year, her whole focus was getting 15 red jackets to seminar. And I'm like, that's brilliant, because that's 15 people who will go to seminar, regardless of the plane ticket price. They're going to go to seminar. So 15 red jackets at seminar. And then from what they saw at seminar, people just started popping up and out of her unit. So that's something, if you're talking about roundtables, getting people into reds, this month, next month, the next month, by June 30th, how many are you going to have to go with you to head into the new seminar year and to go to seminar? Because that will create the base for the cream to rise for the sales directors. And it may be more than 15 reds. I mean, some of you may have 15 reds in your, units right now. So maybe it's 25, 30 reds. How many reds are you going to have by June 30th? That would be a great place to start roundtables. All the getting in front of people with the product and the skincare classes, and roundtables, focusing towards getting those red jackets and talking about seminar right away. Already, these are the dates. Are you are you protecting that? Let's get your plane ticket. Let's get, we know the dates for that. They can get their plane tickets now. So, and I said, what did you do with people that plane tickets were just astronomical? Right now, they're $800 from Detroit to Dallas. And she said, Affirm. She said, she goes, 3/4 of those red jackets used Affirm to get their plane tickets for seminar. And they paid like $30 a month for it. She goes, you figure it out. You don't sit there and go, oh, plane tickets are so expensive, no one's going to go, and just sit there. No, we're going to figure it out. Kimmy? You did?
There we go. I've never heard of Affirm. So what is that?
I can send you a link to it.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to say thank you for this conversation. I agree with Beth. Feels like a warm blanket, like I've been given permission to go back and do what I know how to do really, really well. And for you to have that conversation about business owner versus order taker, and just realizing, and as Holly was talking about, COVID was was 4 years ago. Why have we remained like in this state of confusion? Like, what do I do? What am I good at? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a place for both, right? So just realizing my business is hybrid right now. Like I run in this lane personally with locals, and I run in this lane and have the opportunity to equip, empower, and connect with women who live anywhere in the United States, right? So hello. But I don't know if you guys have a local, what size community you're in, and some of you are in big cities, but I have a local chamber of commerce that I can pay a very small annual membership for. And I have a beautiful room that I can use for free as a member. So that's where I'm going to go back and do regulars. But I was just thinking, okay, in that business owner versus order taker, I realized where I had watered down my leadership. And as Holly was sharing that, it like makes me shudder to think that corporate's going to come in and try to lead or guide my leaders when they aren't in the field. And that's what's happened with so many companies, and it's a downward spiral. So, but I have taken my training to come down and equip an order taker, not build a business owner. And so I would also like in our Voxer group, what are those attributes? How are you going to sell the leadership position for these chicken list calls, for these conversations you're going to have? What are those attributes? Just share those. Those are powerful, powerful conversations. So I just want to say I'd not been doing roundtables. So to start looking at my business from a aspect of what am I giving people a chance to be, moving up and be in a different conversation. What am I setting up for those women who are hungry? So, wow, I have pages of notes, and normally I put an asterisk next to the things that I want to run with. I think there's 20 asterisks on my page today because
Well,
there's
I
been
liked
so many
what you said.
affirmations of
I
just go
think is
back.
so important. You've been, and I think everyone, like that you were creating, like, don't create roundtables for the people you have now.
Right.
Create roundtable situations for the people that you're going to have,
Yep.
because you may have no one plug into Red Jacket stuff now, but as you're recruiting new people, you can say, okay, you can have your 3 people and be at this Red Jacket event, this breakfast, this Zoom, whatever it is, in the beginning of April. And so make sure that we are creating the situations for people to step up into for where we're growing to.
Yes. Amen. And that's why I would say thank you to Cleta and Terry too, for just talking about this new surge, right? Because I have a hard time like letting go of my seasoned people that at some point in the world told me they were going to do something. And yet with what's going on right now, I'm like, here's the surge, right? Just a huge swell in new recruits. Then you've got new people that are hungry. And then you can put something totally new in place that feeds growth for them in building a really solid business. And so we're doing everything from the new growth, the new hungry people, the new path I want to carve for people to move quickly.
Yes. Sonia. And then Lynn, been putting her hand up.
Okay, so this is super exciting because I read the wrong chapter last week. So I feel like really excited because I feel like this is what we need to embrace is we need to do both. So understanding that you can make relationships through virtual parties, which that is how I came in. And that's where I'm still exploding. I mean, I'm heading into my 10th party online this month and I'm going to finish 20. But it's you're building a relationship with someone through a screen, but then you take that relationship into a conversation. Like I just recruited this sharp woman. She's coming to our event that we're doing at the studio on Friday, but it's planting a seed of me having a different approach, saying, I'm looking for leaders when I go to a party. I can sell, product to anybody, but it's planting that seed with her that she's looking for something like, I think I want to do this. Okay, then having a conversation, but now I'm bringing her to the big game so that she can see this in person with roll bags in front of her and, sharp women that are doing this as a full-time job. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about, bringing a unit meeting and doing a skincare class in person for the new people that I'm going to bring. So I guess I just needed to wrap my head around the fact that, you know, Mary Kay always said, follow the food. If we follow the food, we get to go to these different events and you get to sit with people at a table that you don't know at all. And there's so many ideas and thoughts and things that come through. So I guess I'm just super excited about embracing both. I guess I just haven't totally been there yet, but I kind of like had like an aha moment. You know, I was at the studio with T and she had a room full and we've got our new coffee things going. And it's like, okay, it's time to get back in person. We can do both of these two things parallel with each other. It's not one or the other when it seems like one is easier than the other, you know. So I'm plotting to have lots of different faces, you know, in person along with the virtual, but understanding that you can make that relationship with people through a screen because you then take different steps to then get them on the phone. Then you have a conversation. You know, like when I was talking to this woman in this party that I just recruited, she was like, I've been in every direct seller out there, but there's such a different story about ours because so many people have tried to get me to leave this to go to something else. And I'm like, I've been in this organization for 20 years. Like there's no other one. I'm like, let me ask you this question. And all the other direct sellers that you were in, was there, you know, residual income, and was there, you know, you're putting it on and taking it off? It's like, once you buy a whole bunch of nail jams or, you know, all these different things, I'm like, this is what's different about ours. I said, all these women that are in this party, I can sell product, but I'm looking for leaders. I'm stepping into this next role. So it's like my conversations are different, even though I've never met this woman face to face. You always, you know, it's easy to build relationships when you're in person, but to be able to do that through a screen, to then bring that over into person. And I mean, like, that's exciting. So, you know, I'm just excited about both of them now. I guess I haven't been able to really say that, but I love this chapter because now I can do a Zoom and I can build them up the career path. Like I've had some great coaching calls this week because my mind is getting sharpened in this book. And then I got this really lovely, it's a leadership book that I got, and I'll put it in the boxer, from one of my girlfriends for my birthday. And it's so ironic because it's by John Maxwell and it's called Leadership Promises for Every Day. And it's just a small little snippet. Yesterday was all on commitment. And it said the key: commitment. Once a leader definitely commits, God moves all manners of unseen incidents, meetings, persons, and materials to assist in being set forth and where you're going. So it's like, I think I'm finally like, I'm getting it. Like, it's taking a second, but I'm getting that we need to do both of these together. So I'm just excited about, you know, what's to come as we continue with these chapters. But I love that I was able to put into practice what I read 2 weeks ago, more than just reading it to come on and share with you. So I'm really super excited. So thank you for all the sharing. And I'll be excited too to see, you know, what Alden just asked about, like, what are you doing to engage people in the unit meeting virtually? Because I feel like that's something that I'm just doing the talking. So I'll be excited to hear that too. Hi, Steele.
And the whole thing right now is all about Steele. Who cares about John Maxwell or this book? Hey, Steele.
I just saw Dawn totally light up as soon as the grandbaby comes on, and I'm like, oh, I'm such a grandma too. Like the world stops and everything.
Well, last time I had him, she was like, why didn't you get Steele on? I'm like, because it's a business Zoom. And she was like, everybody wants to see a little baby at the end.
This is my roundtable.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. This is my roundtable. Same for her March event, because we wanted Kelly Collins wanted to meet him. I'm like, Mom, babies don't come to Mary Kay events. We can't start this. And she's like, this is my event. I can do what I want. I'm like, okay. Yeah, okay.
Retreat, and then they'd have their grandbabies come at the end of it. They're not screaming their heads off during it, but I mean, people like to see people's families.
Right.
All right, Lynn, you've been raising your hand for like the last 30 minutes.
I know, but you know what? It's all been said, and I appreciate everybody, and thank you, my autopilot. The only thing I was going to say, just keep shorting out, because, you know, all this stuff keeps happening, and I really, I loved your question. What are we going to go back to? And, you know, just the inventory conversation. It's so true. You got to get back to roll-up bags, so you can say it's 5 roll-up bags, as opposed to, you know, those kind of things. Those make such a huge difference. And And booking from parties, you guys, yeah, I cringe. I know this, some directors are like, yeah, she got 84 names. This is what I think when somebody has 84 names. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd have to call 84 people I don't know and say, so gave me your name, and they tell me, they're like, thank you, but no thanks. I mean, oh gosh, just book the darn party and say, invite these 84 people to your party, please. Okay. That's just what I mean, you got to get the names. I realize that. So I'm not like discounting that completely, but I'm just saying, what did Mary Kay say? You booked 2 parties from a party. She didn't say get 84 names.
And she said get 2 interviews for every party too. She didn't say do Mrs. Camp to everything and call that an interview.
That's right. So, okay.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it was really great though. I'm excited about lots of things and figuring it out. I got to figure out some stuff for sure, you know, with the meeting. Alden was like, what are you doing with the meeting? We keep sliding back to stuff, and roll up bags turned into a sheet of paper. You know, I'm like, why are we? Yeah, let them take this sheet of paper home, but guys, still show the bag. Like, roll the bag out.
Have a bag for everyone. Like, people walk out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a battle. It used to be this clear tray and everything fell over. You had to reorganize it, you know, with its little like zip up cover. But every single person had one at the individual consultation, and the bags were hanging on the back of the chairs. And people that had a roll-up bag for everyone would have $1,000 parties before repair. Repair. Now it'd be a $2,000, $3,000 party. But people would fight you like, and this is not my inventory. What if they don't buy all of it? I'm like, pull it out of the bag, put it in the Mary Kay bag with the tissue paper and refill it. Have your assistant refill it when you go home. Your whole inventory is in roll-up bags. People have bought that from 38 years with me. But you know what? They're no longer around because they didn't have a customer base, a skincare customers, that right when they think they're going to quit, someone calls and says, I need repair and my mom's here from out of town and she wants one too. You're just like, okay, yeah, and then building your inventory. It's so much easier to build inventories with roll-up bags. They don't need all the other 5,000 things we have. They're not showing it. They're not showing it. So yeah, like it's like, this is not old school Mary Kay. This is Mary Kay. Terry.
I just want to talk about the order takers. What I do with the order takers, Cammie, I'm going to be real brief. So the order takers at my unit, they come on every Sunday and every Thursday at 8. They invite their guests, and I do a skincare class. I do full circle, and it's up to them and their recruiter to help them build that inventory. That's all I do. I teach them what to say when I get off. That's all I do with the order takers. It's simple. I keep it simple. And on my Sundays and Thursdays, I'm averaging like 25, 27 people. They get them on, but that's it. And now the understanding, I got to have inventory. Now I got to follow up with all these people. They ghost them. They don't call them back. So now the order takers are reconsidering, some of them, how to get inventory. I say, this is what we call the messy middle, as Margaret talked about at our thing. This is the messy middle. So what you gonna do? Okay, y'all got income tax coming in? Do not pay all your bills with it. Invest in this inventory. Sonia, I have always did Mary Kay virtually like the Mary Kay way. Even when the pandemic first hit, I connect with you on Zoom and I connect with you in person. I don't know how to separate it because that's who I am in Mary Kay. So y'all know I don't get on box and talk all that, but I had to get this out real quick, Dawn, with the order takers.
I think that's a great way to take care of order takers. They're the same people that used to just bring guests to meetings, and that's the only way they built their business. I mean, you guys, there were people that they built their whole business only bringing people to events. And you know what? That's fine. At least they were getting people in front of the product and the opportunity. So, I mean, if they're going to be order takers, they're not buying into having inventory. You provide things that they can plug into with guest in person and guest virtually. Because again, it's a different pipeline. It's not like, no, this is bad. We're not doing this. I mean, a bunch of order takers order a bunch of product and you never know who they're going to recruit. You have no idea.
There
so
you go, right there. They
They're
have a recruit right there.
They recruit. So it's filling up all these pipelines with opportunities, but then you know that you're looking for your leaders that they could sign up from a Facebook post my party, but they're willing to do a skincare class and have inventory down the line. Like, this is what we're growing them to. So if your verbiage is that, they know that, that is an option. I love that they can buy their starter kit in 2 weeks. So it means that you got to have stuff for them to be put in front of the products and the skincare within the first 2 weeks of their business, always.
Always.
You know, that's the best new consultant training, is getting them in front of with guests. I mean, that you don't need to do debuts. Put people in front of the things that you're doing in person and virtually, so that they automatically have a reason they have to sell. At least they have to keep ordering. Lita.
Excuse me. One of the things that I've been trying to do this month, because we've had several new recruits, is, excuse me, within minutes of me seeing like on the computer that says you have a new unit member. Like, as soon as I see it, I reach out to that new consultant and I was like, hey, I'm your director. Welcome to Mary Kay. Like, before my virtual assistant sends all the stuff. And I said, listen, watch this video. It's a new consultant orientation video as soon as you can. And then I want to talk to you about it. And I said, text me back after you watch it. I realized it could be after work. But what's happening in like today, I have inventory talk. She signed up yesterday morning. I sent her the thing. She watched, she says, and she was still excited because she just signed up, right? She hadn't lost it yet, or maybe not even talked to 3 people who discouraged her. And she says, that's very interesting. I said, great, let's talk. So we're talking today at 2. So what it's helped me for them to have a little idea what I'm going to talk to them about, not have sticker shock with the numbers. And then when I talk to them, you know, I can get them on in there. And so that's helped me too. And I'll be honest with you, I have not done a good job with in the last several months doing inventory talks, because it's just a bunch of re-signs. And I'm like, you didn't do anything before. You probably not do anything now. I'm not waste my time on you, which is a bad attitude. So I'm really, and this girl wasn't a re-sign, but I'm just saying it's nice when you get someone new in that really wants to do the business, or I'm going to assume they do until they tell me they don't, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to add something real quick. It's what I was going to say that I forgot, that goes along with what we were talking about. Because I have new people that have come in with stars, and you know, I want to get in front of their guests if they're not local. So I just did like a pop-up, I'm calling it a pop-up model skincare class this Monday night. I'm doing it. I'm sending out samples from my office for everybody that signs up on our Google form. And I gave them a simple script, and it works because even my seasoned consultants are like, oh my gosh, it's a training skincare class. I'll invite some friends. I'm like, for the love of all things holy. But we have more guests than we've had, you know, for events in a long time. And it's capturing the out of town people that, you know, couldn't come to my house for a skincare class. So that's easy and something everybody could do, and quickly
Would
too.
you just share how you invited for that or promoted that?
I will just send you the exact text that I sent my unit. I did a little
great.
video and everything.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I've not wanted to, some people have always like, I mail out the samples for all my people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that gives me a brain cramp. But to restart somebody, or to just for one time or brand new, the first, whatever, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to be that for everybody all the time. So thank you.
Yeah, it's strategic. It's like a grand opening. It's not part of every new consultant's launch, but if someone starts with a 3,600 or a 4,800 and they have a target market, fine, let's get together in front of like 25 people. It's gonna be on the back of your hands, and we're booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting. It's strategic. So the same thing with the samples, and you don't personally do it. You get an assistant, because she can do that from anywhere in the country. She doesn't even have to be local to you. It's under the section 2. Skincare. Yep. Yep. All right, you guys, this is a good conversation. There's going to be lots posted, it looks like, in the Voxer. But yes, I want to hear how you're applying and adjusting to this, because I mean, that's the time period we're at, and this is a perfect time to be doing this. I mean, you know what you're doing, you're getting double credit for what you're doing this month, but thinking about this now, like you're going to finish this seminar year up with all the systems in place for the growth that you're going to have through this next seminar year. So we're looking at 12 13, 14, 15, 16 month time period versus a quarter just to the end of June, et cetera. Like that's going to set up a different momentum for you too, going into this seminar year than a lot of people have. All right. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, Dawn.